Oh, that's it. Oops. Hi and welcome to this stream today. Like I say, this is a follow-up from the last stream. So this one will be me just taking the 4 pieces you saw before apart, and it's generally for maintenance, but also I'm reconfiguring some of these machines to do different things. But I'll try to show how how easy it is to dismantle, because I've got 2 OEMs and 2 custom, and this is a general thing. So this is also pretty good if you want to start doing stuff like this and you're unsure how to repair stuff or fix it. So if you have an old spare piece laying around, or you get hold of one, this is a good thing to start with, because dismantling, putting stuff back together is sort of easy, but sometimes it can be difficult to find out how to take some stuff apart, and it's also learns how everything fits in. But sometimes when you put it back together, it can cause an issue because you may forget something or something may happen. You have to sort of reconfigure it a few times. So these are ideal things to start with. And once you've done your first one, it's more easier later date to do general stuff and learn what to do with working with it. Custom ones are pretty easy to custom, they're all generally the same and roughly easy way to do it. Some cases can be awkward. Some OEMs are very good as well, like for instance Dell, Lenovo, which own IBM, which is this one here, and a few others. If you go to their website and put the model number in, or the service tag, whatever, brings up the manuals, the service manual, and it actually tells you how to take it all apart easily. Very good with laptops because they can be sometimes tricky to take apart. So they do a very good job at doing that, but they're all roughly the same. And I say towers are easier to take apart than laptops, but some weird cases are really bad, but they give you all the jobs there. So if you want to decide to take it apart, look online, see if you can find a case to take it apart, but generally do the same thing, and they're a lot easier than the majority. And I've done these loads of times, so it's easy to do, but I'll just show you how easy. But the other reason is, like I say before, these machines need to be stripped down because need cleaning. And I'm reconfiguring some hardware because there's some stuff I don't use anymore, and they're going to be doing different roles. And I also will explain what these machines are and what I do with them. You'll see them at a more later date. But, and also this may be too fast because I'm time based today, so you will see it all 1 and 2 streams maybe, but I'll try to do as much as possible. So let's go along. So first thing to do if you want to strip anything is to have a good place to strip. I'm using my table here, which is good for general jobs. I'm sitting down because of the height, but you can stand up or do whatever you want, just make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you're not anywhere that's got a static charge, like carpets and that. This carpet is non-static, it's a general thing you find everywhere. And as long as you touch the case and do general stuff, you're static free. You can wear sleeve stuff, but make sure you roll them up or not anything raw or anything else. But I've done loads of things with different clothing and I haven't actually broken a system, so you do what you need to do to make sure it's not plugged in or anything else. And generally, the tools are a general thing. So I use 2 tool kits here. You can go online, like fix it by general tools specific for what you need, but I use this stuff. I've got a security kit for odd things that have security stuff, and the general tool kit which I use for everything. They're all magnetic, which is good for a PC, because you can use magnetic tips. Very good for this one. The only time you couldn't use magnetic tips was for floppy stuff because they're magnetic media, but not machines have them anymore, and it's only around the floppy bay. But I use it for this machine as a floppy. I still use it in this one because it's only the media itself that can be affected. But I don't think you can damage the floppy drive yet. I haven't tried it, but yeah, I've always used them and it's fine. I use this type of container box here, which has loads of compartments of screws, so this is very good for me taking stuff apart, especially laptops and some different sizes, so I can put them in different bays and keep them together. There's just different bays there, so it's very handy for that. Trust me, it can get difficult. And I've got a smaller drive that I do normally use for laptops because it's easy to get into the bay, it's magnetic top. And I use a brush. This is a non-static brush, and I normally use this for getting into the small details like fans and areas I can't get to, and this doesn't damage the hardware. It's easy just to brush a couple of things off, and I always use this and have no issues. Other ways is canned air. I've always been to open the case or put it somewhere and give you the best benefit of the canned air. I also paper towels for large areas. You can wet them down and clean it if you're not going to touch the board or anything else. Or ibuprofen and tips in this general because there's loads of ways to clean it, but you can't normally cause damage as long as you don't put any liquid in it. Fine, but these are my general tools I use daily, so it do the job fine. Anything else? Also, I've got a container here, which I put on the large container here, which I'm going to put all the parts in. Now, cables and all that lot. There's going to be a lot I'm going to take out. And I can put stuff in there with no reasons. I haven't put hard drives in it before, as long as you don't bump them. Actually, you have to hit it pretty hard to bump them, but I've got other surfaces where I can put things on. As long as you've got flat surface, put the drives on. You can stack the drives on top of each other, as long as you don't bump it. I've done it loads of times and have no issues, but make sure you've got good space for this, because some machines have a lot of parts and you don't want to be knocking in over stuff. So I need this one and the toolkit here. Let's see. Like I say, the toolkit, I've had it for ages, but I'm planning to get a new one later today. And the 12 bits are here. Bits are on the short bit, but cases are easy to get to. The general sit there. So this is the first PC I'm doing. This is the oldest out of the lot. So this is I think it's a MIDI tower due to the size. This is a lot of these office ones are about this size. This is a general office one. This is came from a system that was a back office for tills. It's not long used. It was just laying around and I needed a spare 98 machine, so it was a spare system. And what I did was took the drive out and kept it with the office and put my own drives. I've got plenty of spare, so it was no big deal when it was being used. But yeah, this is the general one. It's an IBM NetVista, and it's got serial number and product code to be got online. You can find drivers, and you can still do it. If I go to the Nova's archive site, I can still find the drivers of this for 98, which is NXP, so it's pretty good. You can still do that. And I look at OEM manufacturers that still can let you get the driver's old stuff. Just general stuff. And most of the OEMs have label stick on what it is. So this one has a Pentium 4. I think it's a 1.6. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I powered it up. And the other label just says designed for Windows 98 or 2000, because you can either put 2000 NT on it or 98. But the service manual, when I looked on it, can run XP. So yeah, good around the system. General in here. CD drive only on the top. Because there's only burnt discs. Floppy drive, and there's kind of expansion bays and other stuff on the front. But this is the general office. I'm not going to show the back because I'll be showing that one later on. And these things are easy to take apart. All cases have a back. That's the basic OEM. Various positions depending. But all cases normally open on the right hand side. Some, if I remember, HP is the compactor on this side. Don't ask. Upside down board, yeah. And this is, most of this is screwless. Surprising, but it's just in the office, so that's a little tab bit, so I like a button and arrow, so I hold that down. I have to do it this way because it's been a while since I've done this. And I grab handle. Normally you lay it down to do this, it's easier, but I'm just showing this so I can easy. So that's that. Well, some manufacturers are pretty good because there's a diagram on here which tells you exactly how to do upgrades and yes, it's got layout of the motherboard, which is good. It's got all the connectors and what it is, so handy if you know where everything is. How to remove the power supply board, how to put the adapter in, because it's got the adapter at the bottom you remove, and it's like screw this here. How to reset the jumper, how to remove the bezel, and how to take the hard drive access. Basically everything here, how to take this, hook it up and remove it. So that's pretty handy. I think on the majority of them it's pretty good. Especially if you've done it before, you don't want to bring out the manual, so that's pretty handy. I've been in here for a while, so I didn't really. So there's this is a different layout to most of them, but normally power supply sits up here, down here. But the power supply here sits here, and it's custom for this machine because it's as small as possible. which is pretty handy. And the front bezel is there's maps at the top here, which shifts the front bezel off, which is pretty handy, because that's accesses the front hard drive and the front ports. And yeah, and like I say, you can pop this out to put another drive in, and there's another slot here for like another 3.5 bay. So, front of the machine here, this is the primary hard drive here. Floppy drive, another one you can fit in, or card reader or anything else that needs 3.5, and another spare 5.25. And these are pretty good as well, because you can simply just pop these out to take the bearing out, and these is pretty good. Some machines are actually sort of part off the frame to bash it out, and some screw it off. So, but if you ever do upgrades, keep these, because if you change it, you can put them back in. That's the general move here, so that's part of that. And that's that for now. That's like this one's punched in, for instance, so you have to punch this out to access that, but it needs to be gapped then. So that's the option here. Can't take the hard drive out at the moment because I've got to disconnect it, but I'll do that in a minute. And that's just the other part here. So next thing, it's been a while since I took this apart. Next thing I need to do is to take out this. That's the little latch I said. You just unhook that, and that holds the cards in. So it's like easy. You can swap it about. This machine's designed for easy upgradable for quick doing. And see now. It's been a while since I've been looking at this, so it's going to be interesting to take it apart for a while. But well, the card. I can take the first card out. This is a TV tuner card. I've had this for a very long time, maybe 10 years plus, and it was in my second, third machine, because mostly rented flats. I only had one room in general. I had no room for TV, so this was handy. It's done by Hupe. They're still around. Oh, it's 2004. That's even older than 4. They're still around and do very good TV cards. So it's pretty good. They're digital and everything up, but they're very good cards if you're limited in space. And this is a UK one, so it's a PAL, and it's only designed in the UK. So tuners vary depending on the country. And it has a. This is an analog one, so it don't work anymore, but some old stuff uses it. There's a digital analog FM, so you can still use it for radio. It came with the antenna to fit in. There's also a S-video in, and it came with an adapter to convert it to the yellow one converter compact. I can't remember the thing, been a while. So you can still plug other devices in. And there's 2 audio. There's no audio through the actual BSR system, so it came with that sort of link cable you find in most line-to-line. So you have to put one into here and put it into the line in on your sound card to get the audio. The other one is line in for other sources, like for instance, because there's no video force here, so this is for like these came together. The last one's an IR system. It came with a little cable with a little eye sensor, and it comes with a remote, so you can control the remote. So this is good. But this thing also does like FM radio recording and TV recording, because it uses a hard drive like a PBR, so DVR. So it's very handy. I always had this for general stuff, and I use it for other stuff, but it's not used now because it's got more advanced systems these days, like capture cards and that, so it's not really used anymore. So, so yeah, it would come handy again. I've got some old stuff, but it's a very general card, yeah. And they still make these ones, but a lot modern and works with digital tuners and maybe HDMI inputs and that. So still handy to have when you've got limited space, but a lot of people do that. The next card. This is a sound card. So this is a Sound Blaster CT4810. It's a Sound Blaster 16-bit PCI Express. And this one I've had this was my first upgrade in my first PC because it needed an audio. It was almost there's a model date on this. Yeah, I think I had it since 2000. Wow, yeah, that's it. First machine had this. This is from machine to machine. I always had them in there because this works better than the on-board one. And I've always had this one, and it's like from my 98 stuff and everything else, and it's very good. Crashed with a few old DOS drivers, but they were patches for that. But this has been with me for a very long time, and it still works. And I always use sound cards. This is a creative one. And then there's 3 connectors on here for auxiliary in for other devices that may need to source it in, or you've got 2 CD drives, a CDN and a T80. I think that's for the fax machine and so on. You know, that's general stuff. There's a jumper in here which I forgot what it does. Oh, it's the oh, I forgot what this one does. Been a while since I looked at this. But yeah, there's a jumper and everything else, and on the front it's got MIDI joystick, a audio out, mic, line in. But I've had this a long time. It still works in this machine, and it's better than what's on board. And it's all just a job for what I need to do with it, and it was fine for the job. And the last card to come out of here. Oh, if I get hold of the little latch. Do you have a latch? There you are. And there it is. Graphics card, so you've got the little latch here to open up. There you go. The final one is this GPU here. This has no on board, so it came with a 16-bit general card. So this is one I had in it, which is a Radeon 7000. HI is it's very old. 64 megabytes of DDR memory, and it's done very good for my 98 machines because I didn't need a lot of graphics for what games I had on it originally, and this card's been in a few machines with the AGP, so it's pretty brilliant. It still works in this one, so it's 98. There's a jumper on here which is between PAL and NTCA, don't know why, and this is ribbon because this card can fit in a low profile system, so it came with 2 backing plates, so you could take this off and attach the VGA onto 2 cards, so it's handy for small profile. And VGA DVI, not many systems at the time had that, and the last one's a SVG out, so that's all this is, so it's still workable. I think it works on the XP machine, but it won't be anything newer, but it's handy for this machine. And it's generally good, but I'm upgrading this to a bigger one because I've got a spare one, so it's handy. And that's the old cards, and there's one more little bit here. There's one more thing in here, which is the little mounting plate for this, like a little metal bar which holds it in. This is the cover. If you take cards out or add them, I've got the spare plates for the super back in. Prevents things getting in anything else. I won't move it because it's pretty difficult to put in. It's the general of that. Let's see now, so that's the GPU cards and everything else. And then this thing I have to do is take out the disconnect the hard drives and everything else on this. This is a bit difficult to do. So bear with me. That's 1. Oh, yeah, there's been a long time in here. 2. 3. Oh, that one's going to be a tight one because I remember where it sits. That's 4. Floppy. And the final one should be under here somewhere. It's the that's it, the power motherboard. So that comes out like that, and that's the power supply for this machine. There's a way to get it out, but oh yeah, I've got to screw it from the back. I'll do that in a minute. So that's that. And I'll mount it. There's two screws that hold it in place, so I've got to get that out. These are the only things that need screws is the actual hardware. That's not designed to be removed unless you servicing it. Well, this one is only a small drive, so that's fair enough. So let's take these out. Put them into the top one there. I'm going to have to take this out now. Back out. Should down there, that's it. So it sort of flips out and that's it. That locks in as like a latch to close it, so that's handy. And that's the power supply for this. It's designed on the machine, so this is the exhaust fan, so it draws air this way and out. And it's the only cooling fan for the. There's no cooling fan on the. Oh, there's actually a cooling fan on the actual CPU, but it's designed to draw air in. They have little rubber washer screws. These are actually little rubber things for anti-vibration. So this machine's pretty silent running, to be honest. The only thing in here is the hard drives because they're old IDEs, but yeah. So that's what this is. It's an IBM Pacific Custom. Total power 180 watts max. Wow, I'm going to put a lot in this thing, so it's perfect for this job. And these are very difficult to get on by. You have to actually specifically buy these for this because it's uniquely designed to fit in the case, and these are pretty well built, so you won't actually wreck it. But I will be cleaning this out, and I'll show you how to do that because you can clear the power supplies out if you know what you're doing. Best thing to discharge and everything else. But if I was able to clean these out, because if they get too clogged up, they can break, especially something like this. But normally you can just use a can here to spray it out. These do get junked up if you use one for 24 hours. It says here high voltage, no cells apart, but if you know what you're doing, it's fair enough. It's just the caps, but this is what it is, and it's pretty handy. There's a little switch on the top here which changes the voltage from 230 to 115, depending on the country. This is set to 230 and it's taped to print. You're actually doing it, but modern supplies are auto, so you don't have to worry about this anymore. But what the general is saying. And this one's a 20-pin ATX with a 4-pin CPU, and Molex only. So you've got these chains on Molex for hard drives and optical drives and any other things you want to power. And this little one here is the floppy drive. So that's designed to hook into floppies or from expansion cards. I think the one they used that was expansion from IDE to SATA reverse. But, it's pretty weighty, so it's pretty good. Maybe cheap ones are very light as anything, and they don't last long. But these ones are designed to last long, so that needs to be cleaned up. I'll show you later. I'll do those later on once I've taken all the machines apart. So I do need their full service. That's that. Next thing I do is take out all of the ID cables because they're ribbons. So there's one on the floppy drive, and one on the actual. Yep, that's an ID cable. Most people don't see these anymore. And this is a selector cable. So you have a blue end which goes into the motherboard. You have a grey one, and you have a black one. If I remember rightly, it's been a while since I hooked these up. I think the black one's master and the grey one's slave. With ID, they're sort of parallel. You have two drives on. You have to put it in the right order so the machine would recognise. And there's two ways to do that. You can use a select cable like this and set this both to set cable so it knows to do it. Or if you set them to master and slave, then you don't need to worry about which order these go on. The machine will see whatever the jump is set to. But I'll show you that when I take one out. But this is what they used to use. And let's do two different types for data loss and that. But yeah, that's a general ID, which not many people see anymore. And there's two in here because it's got a master and slave. Older machines only used to have one ID controller, because at the time optical drives weren't available, so it was just two hard drives. But then they decided to, when machines came more for the optical, they put two ID controllers in. You put 4 hard drives in, 3 with optical, 2 optical, so you've got a lot of better range. And normally it says primary and secondary, so the primary you put the drives on, and the secondary is like other stuff like optical drives. So they were versatile at the time, so yeah, pretty good for what it did. This is the, and they come in different lengths and everything else. So this is the second one. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's the hard drive. Dumb. That's the second one. It's a bit fatter and I think more advanced, but same thing. You had this is in the sleeve, but a general thing. But they were paying in some measurement to put them in. So that's the thing, and there's one more, which is the floppy drive. So the floppy drive, one single one, and normally it's blue for the board and that, but some can be same colour. And normally the one that's twisted is the one that goes into the floppy drive, and the other one goes there. And there's also a little red band on all these cables, which is pin 1. I never knew how to do it, but yeah. This is the floppy controller. This is one because there's only one floppy, but you can, if you had more than one floppy drive, you have them with multiple bands, and the old 5¼ disc drives you keep in there as well, and they would have a very fat connector on here, so you can still fit them in. But that's that. Another cable that's here, which you don't see anymore. This is a 4-pin audio cable, so there's 2 pins on each end, and this is for hooking the CD drive to the sound card or modems or anything else, and this is what they're passing. I'll show you that why, because this still has that actual thing on it, and I'll show you what it does. And that's the cables at the moment for what you need to remove to get the hardware out. So I'll just take the cables in and do it. So now I need to start taking out the variants of hardware that's inside here. So the first one is the optical drive, which is up here. This side you can't move, so it's all one side, which is pretty good. So this is the first one. Sorry you can't see these because they all have screws at the top here or side. I know I can't show you much because I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing, so yeah. This is the first one. The sizes are very small, so there's a lot of small ones, big ones for various things. So that's why I have this thing to separate the two. And look, it's all 4 compartment size. I know which ones to do for each machine. So that's that, and that just pops out, pushing forward and out. This is the optical drive that comes with it. It's a Samsung CD Master 48E SC148. It's only a CD drive, but burners, it's okay for this. This was 98. DVDs were around at the time, but they were expensive. So, and it's in an office environment, so you don't need that. Just need to install software or to burn. And like I say about this, there's a little headphone socket in the volume control, and what that is, at the time, when you basically, if you put music CD in here, you can put it into here and plug your headphones into it and use the volume, and that's what that little audio cable is for. So that the sound from the sound card could go into here for the audio. So you'll cut the audio and play your music through here. You still need to control everything from the software, but it was like a CD audio thing. That's what that little cable was for, designed to send the CD audio to the sound card. On later models it was built in, so it didn't need, and this is actually came with it, so it says IBM 20x to 48x speed CD-ROM drive. So it was a 48 speed CD-ROM. 2002. Maybe so. It was manufactured 2002. Yeah, this machine is built 2002 because it's got even the manufacturer here with its own firmware and part number. Because some manufacturer OEMs have put their own firmware on, so it's always varied what we're doing, and it's 2002. Not too bad. It's been around all these years and it still works. That's why IBM's pretty good for that. Got the Nova as well. So yeah. On the back, there's some connectors. There's a digital DV thing. Never used that. Audio. There's a little jumper here. Now the jumper is for when you set this to whatever thing. So there's one marked C at S, which is cable select. So that's what's saying about the colours. You put in the right one. SL is slave, and MA is master. Now normally master is your first drive and SL is your second drive, hard drive, and the same thing when you fit if you're having two hard drives on optical, so you set the hard drive to master and slave, and this goes on the second channel and this set to master. But if you had one hard drive and the optical and you only had one and you put them on the same ID controller, this would be set to slave and the other to master. If you reversed it, it wouldn't do odd booting if you can select it. But normally if you have two channels, you always put the hard drives on one and this on the second, so both can be set to master, but as long as you put them on the different channel, the BIOS checks one and the other. And then the ID interface, and the last one is the little power. And all generally like this is a big drive, but they got a bit smaller in time. But yeah, and this is only a. Well, it says it's a CD-ROM. So maybe it's only. Yeah, it says a CD-ROM, so it's only a reader. It won't even write. And it's only to install software, so that was a job for it did. I think I've got to figure out what to take out next. Next one is one of the hard drives. I put two in here, one for storage and one for the OS, but like I say, I don't need two in it anymore. Because at the time I had two machines and the other one, and most games now work on the other one fine, or if I use VMs, so this is not used. Oops, so this is a Western Digital Cabinet, 80 gigs, October 2001. Still works, so yeah, not too bad. And the same thing. There's a jumper controller here, and that turn normally on the front here it tells you which way to fit the jumper. So this one's set to slave because it was the storage. You can set it with master with present, master slave, and that. So yes, it and cable select. So yeah. So this is the storage drive. And to be honest, I forgot what I put on this system, so I want to check that out. But that's what the test system's for, to plug these in to test it. But yeah, so that's one storage. Mouse, don't do that. Put the mouse over this underneath now. So that's most of it now, and I've got to take the front drive out. This is in the caddy here. So that's the primary drive, and it's like in this own little custom slide out, just slide it out and that's it. So that's the primary drive. And this is a Samsung spin point. This is also an 80 gig hard drive, and it's the first hard drive I bought for the 98. So this has been around a lot of systems and it still works. It's September 2004. So it's pretty good, and same thing. Jump anything else, and this is in those machines before I went to SATA. It's my primary drive. It was durable and it still does the job. These are actual things that come with the machine. They're not all with hard drive slits and it slides in, and they're actually I'd take them off to show you. Let's get the right screwdriver. Don't need the little one for the moment. Leave you there for later. I think this one. So little screws, and this is like a little bracket. And there's little rubber washers for anti-thing, and there's a part number if you need more if you've lost them. But these basically go on the edge of the hard drive and then just slide it in. And this is common on a lot of some cases do the same thing. You screw the drive on and then slide it in. So it's screw key. It's yeah, toolless. But on the front of the case, there's still a hole for screws. So if you did lose it, there's actually 4 screw holes here which match on the bottom of the drive, so you can screw it in if you misplaced it, so it's an option, but this came with this machine, so yeah. They fought well in this case, yeah, didn't see those before, but yeah. Take this off now, I'm just stripping everything down, because I'm not sure we're going to use the same drive in here, or use another drive, but I haven't made my mind up. Drops and they go into there, so that way they're stored, and then these two are the little things. And that's the drive. So that's drive 2. So I'm stacking them here, but on a solid surface, that's it. So that's the little thing. Let's put it back for now. The last thing to take out is the floppy drive. 2 screws, that's handy to know which one's what. Because hard drives nowadays have different size drives for each thing, so that's that. And this just slides out as well. And this is the floppy drive. Not many people see these now, but this is a general faceless one because the main face is on there, but some had a faceplate. Eject and little active light. Basically, this is a general floppy drive. It's made by Sony, MPF920L. High density disk this is, and it's got a part number and anything else on it, but generally it has a standard floppy controller and control power, and there's a little notch that only goes in one way. Some of them didn't have notches, and you put it on the wrong way, what happens is the hard drive, the floppy drive like consistently stays on, then it will not run, so you just reverse the cable and it would work. But yeah, that's a standard floppy drive. Shielded, so you can take it apart and clean it, but I don't think I would do that, because it's not used often and it still reads. I've got all 3 floppies that read it, this is only for that. But yeah, standard floppy drive. So that's all the majority of hardware out. This, the only thing left is fans and a couple more things to remove. So yeah, so also some places it's difficult to get some stuff out that's not designed to take out, and just be careful you may cut yourself. But just taking off this is just 2 clips hold the back there. That you don't need to take this apart, but I'm taking everything apart so it needs all cleaning it. And this was just markings of when it was made and that, but this is universal for that. So that's that. I mean, don't take it off, but I decided to take it off to access the front. So this machine has 2 USBs on the front, which is not. I started putting this on most modern machines. Activity lights here and the power switch. And there's little stamp holes here because, like I said, the case came in different models, so it had various settings or configuration, so you could snap different versions on. So that's that. Let's pop this off. You tie it on. like I say, I'm stripping everything out, including all bits and pieces to clean it. So this is the little, most manufacturers have universal, but this is just a power switch and 2 green LEDs and a proprietary connector which just fits straight on. So you cannot use this in another case because you would have to take this with you, and you would even have to guess which pin does the power or LED. So OEM cases you cannot put them into other cases or reuse the same case without modifications because they were fit to design to that hardware. This still has like a part number, so if it did break, you're still trying to find the part to replace it, but in general, with custom cases you can put one to the other easy peasy, once you've got the board that fits in it. So for instance, all size boards will fit in a full size, but a Marker Tower you can fit in the Marker ATX, so yeah. But you can easily do it, but these one thing fits, that's it. The only thing fits is variant boards that will fit the same problem, but yeah. So that's that. Like I say, the diagram doesn't tell you where that goes on the board, it only fits in one place, but to be honest, the server's made gives you a lot more information. Yep, just reading it. Yep, doesn't see it in here, but tells you what all the stuff does. So that's that. So the only thing left is the motherboard and a few other bits. What next to pull out of this? And how are you fitted in? There's a mono speaker in here. I think some of these IBM desktops, they had a built-in jumper from the onboard sound card and had a mono speaker, so it had built-in speakers, and it's a mono because it's just a tweet. Well, you still get audio out of it, but yeah, it's a desktop, so it gives you the maybe you're running some audio, just sort of presentations, and that it has that. So and IBM's had that, so that wasn't anything. So yeah. Wouldn't give you much bass, but you can still maybe you're doing other things, you can plug it in. If you plug it in audio source, it cuts this off, so yeah, I think that's pretty handy. And it's 1.5 watts, 8 ohms, but it's just a standard connector, mind you. That's interesting. It's got a the positives actually been cable wrapped, so it looks like someone must have cut it one time by accident and just twisted it. But it's not ideal, but it still does work. I didn't see that before. It's handy. I'm just going to put it somewhere. There's that. And then next one's going to be tricky because I'm going to take the system case fan you see on the top out, but that's on those rubber things that are used for dampening. But you can still get them off. I'll show you how to do that. What you need to do is you can use a very thin screwdriver and just poke them in and push it out. It's a bit tricky. You have to be careful because if you do it wrong you can actually damage them. Because they're only going one way. It's like a little grommet and then something else here. You can get them out if you prod hard enough. I forgot I did it with this one. It's difficult to put out, but I'll probably leave that one in for now because it's tricky to do. And the fan's pretty clean. I did it first time I had the machine, so yeah, but you simply just, and this is a standard 80mm fan, which you can also got the speed control, so it's good. That's the only fan you can fit on here for exhaust fan, as well as the power supply fan. So general stuff left. One more thing to pull out is this is the USB port, and it's also got its own priority connector. Sometimes they have the USB 2, but this looks like a really ditty one. Part number as well if you need to replace it. So anything left in here is the main board. Yeah, so let's see how you get out. I normally don't take the main board, I'm doing this for a reason. No, we need to remove the boards, but I'm taking this out because it needs cleaning, the case needs cleaning, but also I want to show what each board is. One I'm not taking out because I know what it's like to take out, and it is not nice. See, 1, 2. That's a fiddle to get that one out. But this is the ideal thing. You want to learn how to put things in, take it all apart, including the board. And once you don't, keep it on somewhere like this is Note K or something cardboard, and it's static, you can take it out. Gives you an idea how to go in and out. One here. Streams really lagging, so looks like I might have to do the others at another time. The way you do it is laying down, it's much easier, but this is just how this goes in. See if all the parts out of this yet. And double check everything before you do it, you don't want to force it. Oh, that's interesting. The actual, I just thought it separates on the actual board, but it looks like the parallel and serial port connectors are actually screwed on underneath to make it more secure. I've seen that before. So it's preventing the board from coming out. So I should be able to pop off the yep. If I push on the, I'll show you now. There's the board. There's nothing left in here now. It's just the caddy case and that. Okay, looks like that. That's the last part. There's another part of the top and side, but like I say, that side doesn't need to be taken off because there's nothing to screw in, but you can see dust that communicates on it, so just notice there's another plastic bit that fits on the inside it I could take off, but it's only the plastic thing that removes the actual front plate, so yeah. And that's the remaining of the case, there's nothing left in here. The only thing in here is the cooling fan, but that's one of those rubber things, so I can't remove it. Just to poke around, but and the little case holes. This one, so that's that. So that's that. And what I'll be doing is cleaning this out. well, normally with a hoover and the dust, and that should be clean. So that's the first one. That's the first one that'd be cleaned, and like I said, that's the main board for the system. So this is let's mark ATX this one because it's very small. We've only got a couple of ports, but like I said, also I've been putting each board out to show you the difference on the hardware because there were variants of hardware on the years. So this is a Pentium 4. There's a little bracket here I can hold. You shouldn't touch the back of the board because you get cuts and sore. But normally this comes off, but we don't screw a couple of things. But yeah, this is the main board. See if you get a view. I'm not going to remove the processor because I don't have anything to clean the heatsink off. We get paste, but normally we do that to give improvement. But there's a but you can unscrew the. What I normally do with these, if it's possible, I unscrew the actual. I'm going to do that actually. That's where this comes in handy. You can unscrew this and take the fan off and clean all the grills and that, and then put the fan back on. It only goes one way. That's the handy thing to do. That's what I normally do. If I can take the fan off, I'll do it. Some of it's clipped on, but if it screws on, I'll find it's easy because they're only going one way, and it's easy to clean out the grill and everything else. You take the fan off because this is actually a custom heatsink. This is normally the one you normally use on P4s. I'm sure. I think it's hyper-thread, and I think it's 1.6. This one, so it's pretty fast for 98. She did a good job for general work, and this was 24 hours running for years and years because it was used as a back office PC. So yes, it's a very good little machine. Yeah, CPU fan, and the other one is case fan. Yeah. So that's that. It's a little CPU fan. It's 3 pins. That's speed control, so it will adjust the speed depending. That's it. And it was configured in. Well, yeah, it went down and out the side. So that's that. That's the general thing. So what you can do is you can get your brush and clean out better there. This thing that really needs to clean. First time I took the board out, so yeah. So this is the general. So that's the general board. So that's power in for the board. Floppy, primary and secondary. It's even written on the actual board. I don't know what's on the case. That's the header for the USB. Header for the front case. Another fan on the front here. Jumper to reset the BIOS. That's the BIOS there, and it was a 20 JT is the actual BIOS, but I've actually had the latest update on this. I've still one for it. This one down here is the I think it's written on the actual case itself. Oh, it actually has written on the power LED. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's the tamper thing. This is like a, you can fit a tamper thing on it, which alerts you if you open the case. Onboard system speaker, so that beeps when there's a problem. BIOS battery, 2 more jumper tags, which are for PCMA jumper, SCSI LED, front audio and CD. Oh, so it's basically written on all it. It's basically written everything on it. Oh, didn't realise that. They're upside down. But I tell you what, yeah. So that's where the USB. That's the front port, USB port for the controller. No, that's the anti-tamper thing. It looks like a floppy, but it has different headers. BIOS battery. One of these is the one of these is a SCSI LED, so you had to go to drive. You can hook that up. This is the audio adjust front audio to do the audio driver. This is the floppy drive. This is for the CD input, so you're using the onboard. We took it into this to get the audio. This is the little mono speaker. And that's all the connectors on it, and the 12 volt CPU. 3 PCI Express ports, like 3 PCI ports before the Express, and this is the GPU graphics card, and this is a little thing that holds it in. So that's what the board has, and this is general design for it. That's the chipset with its own heatsink, and this is actually as IBM built 2001. So yeah, and there's 2 more headers here, one for another fan and another one for the back fan, and then the other one's the CPU. And they're 3-pin, but they're marked, and that's a 3-pin as well. So yeah, and there are 3 slots of memory RAM, and this one takes this is a Samsung PC133U. That's a SODIMM RAM. Before DDR, this is the one that it used to do, and this is 128 megabytes. 3.3 volt SD-RAM, yes, SD-RAM, and it's like I say, 128 megabytes. So, which is okay for 98, but this board can go up to 1.5 gigabytes max, so you can put 3 512s in it to give you 1.5 max. And like I say, this 1, 2, 3, and like I say, it's open these to remove it. So I took the RAM module out. So SSD RAM looks like. The camera can pick it up, but like I say, there's 2 notches on it. See, there's 2 notches. So that's an SD RAM, and it's just single-sided, so it only goes in one way like any other RAM, but it has 2 little notches on each of the things here. It came with the machine because it has like the IBM. It's a Samsung, but this is the part that came with it. But it can go up to 1.2 RAM. Just put it back in so I know where it is. And that's that one. I'm going to put it over there now so it doesn't get damaged. There's a lot of mess on that machine that really needs to be clean up. I'll clean up the parts later on when I put them back together. So that's that one. That's a bit fiddly because I thought it was going to take longer, but it's a general. This is the second machine out there outline. And this one is a screws the cables. Oops. This is a Dell machine. Now I got this from someone who before it was power supply fault, so they got a new secondary laptop and we transferred the files over. But I think it was just I don't know what happened to it, but it still works. But generally, this is a system I had then for XP, and also had a light Linux on it at the time. And this was generally I had to use this for audio looking at. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. It just does general stuff, and that's it. And this is a Dell. Same thing before. It's Dimension 3000. And that before, it's a Pentium 4. And this had XP on it. There's a general stuff. And that's not the original optical because I borrowed the optical, but I've got to put it back in. Then all the machines don't need it anymore. It's a general thing. And like I say, this is a general thing. There's a little service tag up here which you go online, you can get all the information for it, drivers and stuff. And it's a general thing. So like before, it has a little latch on the back. It's just the same thing as that one. And it's very different. It's a bit more open because the other one was more compact in design. So this is a general one. It's the same thing, works with everything else. First we'll take out the cables. Exact same thing. But I didn't put much in here, so it's just one hard drive and one optical drive. Nothing else is required in this machine. So that's that. There's a 4-pin underneath here hidden. Well, first thing I'm going to take the fan in. This is something odd that Dell did. Little latch under here. And it pulls down, opens up. And that's the little. This is the only outlet fan, and this is also the CPU fan. So I'll show you when I take it out. It's a big heatsink, and this fits on like this. This does open. I think if you push it down, this does open upwards so you can clean it. But generally, this is the main exhaust fan for this. So it both takes air out of the system and also the CPU. And it uses its 8 unique 3-pin, so you can't put it on the other system. Like I say, with these you can clean them with damp towels and that, and there's also a little, I think that's a thermostat there, so it's like air thermo to control its speed, and this does get noisy because it's like a very large fat fan. And I do say some Dell does some odd things with some systems. I think I cleaned one before when I had it in the front, and it was sitting this way up. And it was going out this way in this weird sort of way, and sometimes you can't get into them to clean them correctly or to remove parts, so they sometimes do some odd things. And all sorts of things on the board I shall show you now was the reason why I can't do much of this. All the branded parts I know where they would go, because they're proprietary to each system. I need the screwdriver. At least this one has one plain screwdriver. And this is a standard case, so I'm going to take the. I always take the power supply out if I can, because it's easy, because they get in the way. Like I say, all these systems are being taken apart now, and we cleaned and put back together. I may have to put them back together later on, because I don't think I have enough time to do taking apart and put them back, so I'll do that later on and see what I do with each one. But this is the power supply. And this one has a little oh no, it's locked in. That's the power supply, and this is a standard power supply, so you can easily put them anywhere. This is same thing, had a little switch there to switch between the voltage, and does need a bit clean. It's a, well, it's not Dell's own brand, but you know, the NPS 250K, and this is a 170 watt. Same before, you can put much in these. This is the thing about OEM machines, they only give you a power supply just to power it up. Good luck upgrading it, you have to do a lot of things to upgrade it, so this is why it's best to have custom builds, and that's what I always do. Same thing, 12 volt, another, it's also used 20 pin. Those are Molex cables, there's a floppy, and most manufacturers do cap off ones I don't need. And this 6-pin, which I don't know what it's for. Probably for graphics, probably. That's why I know what 6-pin did. But yeah, so those are connectors here. They do cap off the ones I don't need, so that's good. So there's only 2 exposed. Floppy is the only one. There's not floppy in here, but that's the general of it. And like I say, you can easily get these replaced if needed to. Yeah, that's that one. And the rest of it you can't open because it's all riveted. So there's another system that you can do one way. But then there's a couple of latches here. That's the front bezel. So you can take this out with another floppy. You can take this out and add another CD drive or floppy drive. It's still got a little floppy thingy here because you can actually buy one to fit in here if you needed it, but you can't put any other 3.5 system in there because this is molded. But you can get adapters to convert this, and just a power button, headed HD and drive. That's it. You can take the front bezel off to clean it, and this is dated 2000. Looks like a 2005 system. Yeah, 2005 because it came with XP Service 1, so yeah. that's that. Let's see now. I'm going to take out the optical drive next. So I need to put the old one back in. Oops, the ID controller. So that's the drive, and there's another screw here which is just a post where it just slides in. There's a little slot here for it to guide. There's no way to put that in, so that's proprietary to this. You use this, the drive just wobbles. You can normally find parts online. This is a 2004 DD/CD rewriter by Pioneer Technology, and this thing doesn't actually work very well. Came out of another system that I had built, and it was just I just shoved it in there because I wanted it just to not have a gap. But it's doesn't read very well in this. That's just a crummy little paperweight now, so I'll probably get rid of that. But yeah, so there's a little like a groove here. Everything slides into. Oh, that's actually here. There's two notches here. So you want to add another drive, you would have to go and order a part to put it in, or just have it wobble. My different discs that need to be spin. So that's that. Oh, actually no, sorry, they're here. All cases, if you take the front off, they've got additional slots. So these two here are the additional connectors. So what these do, these have them all here, extra base. This is in most compact HP. You take the front off, you have loads of proprietary screws, so you'll be adding more stuff. You can just take it off and put it on. Most people don't realise they're there. Some didn't put them on and they slide in, slide out, and so that's where you can put stuff. Surprisingly, that only had one connector on it, so it looks odd. No, you have two to slide. Oh, it only goes in the front one, yeah, so it's only for the first two front. But you also can put them on both sides, sort of. Actually, I think it's put two on each side to slide in, and then another one to secure it. That's what it's normally for, yeah. I can see what it is now. But they normally have it on the front, so that's not too bad, I say, if you want to upgrade it. I'm going to take off the front header. And lucky this thing has all same size screws, so you know the bit of which one is. And this has two headers on it, a proprietary one and a standard one. Oh, oops, gotta take the hard drive first. Twat. Sorry, excuse the language, but I remember you've got first to take out the hard drive before you can actually do anything. So, oh, made in Ireland. I'm surprised they don't. It's built in UK and Ireland. They don't do it anymore. So the hard drive case there's a couple holes on the bottom of this that allows the hard drive to be taken out. So there's one on the bottom. And they're coloured red, so you know it's the hard drive. And there's another one at the back of the unit. This can hold two hard drives, but you've got to buy the cage for the second one. There we go. And this should just. So that's the hard drive. Same thing, I'll take the original hard drive out and just put a stacked in the spare one, but this is just remove the hard drive. That's the caddy for this machine. No, it sits on the front. You can put two in there. There will be another one that would fit in the holes and have like flat to flat, and there'd be 2 screws, but some models didn't have it, some did, but you can buy them separately, but they sort of sit in the front. And this is another drive. This is a Maxter Diamond plus 9, 80 gigs. Yeah, but okay. I think we go smaller now. Yeah, that's not going to do this. I'm going to put a smaller drive in it, so I can do this 80 gig with something else. Same thing, diagram how to do the jumpers. This was built in, excuse me, I do some party for me feet. We're all moving at the moment, so I'm sort of sniffing at the moment and dust. Where is the ATA 133? The different versions of the ATA for speed. Excuse me, serial number, code, LBA, voltage, manufacture date, here we go, 9th of November 2002. This is noisy, but yeah. Okay, so that's that. And the cables here on the front are actually tied on with a zip tie. So just clip those off. I'm not worried about putting these back on because it's like a spare general thing. And this is the front. This is the front header port. So that's a little metal thing that fits in front. This went in there, and that's the front. And this is the front header port. So it has a headphone in. When you put this in, it cuts the back, and 2 USB fronts. Also has a you also can take the cable off there, and you can see it. So it's a proprietary 1 input and 2 split off. The USB is a standard. No, it's not. It's got a little dipple in it, so you can only put it one way, and that's a proprietary. So, like I said before, you can't put these into another machine because it would. You can't put another board in because you won't be able to power it up and do general things. So that's what most of these do. Proprietary cable. That's like the same thing. You can't put more one way. So that's that. That's that. Thing is to take off is this. Same thing. See, this is the panel LED and switch. Same thing. Proprietary. Looks like the USB for the different ports. You can't plug them in the wrong one, and they're color coded. So yeah. Same thing. See, standard switch and power thing. Now, I say now, if you testing machines and that, it's ideal to take out. If you strip from the case, is to take out the power switch and LED because they're very handy, but something like this is difficult because of the way it's wired, but the general ones are standard connectors, so they're ideal for that. So that's that there. That's a green LED. This is the clear because it has 2 colours, because it either tells you when it's in standby or powered up. So that's what that's what the power has a brighter thing. That's actually 1. It was an amber one and green for the HD because they're labelled. That's that. So the only thing left to do is the same thing. These are ID cables. So they only had 1 cable. There you go, Black's master, and that's only 1 cable because it only had 1 thing in the hard drive. But you can see you just swap in 2. You had 2 and so on. But yeah. And this is the cable. So it's all, I don't know, this must be a smaller type, so it's got 3 cables, but you can see it says drive 0, drive 1, and system port. So if you had the cable select, that would be your master slave. See, it's black, grey, and blue normally, but yeah. So that's what that is. So the only thing is to take the board out. Actually, what I'm going to do is take these little things out as well. This is the thing, had all the same screws in it. It's not easy to take it apart. The IBMs are the odd ones, but fair enough. It was not designed to be taken apart. Well, it was, but it was for quick in now. This is like a standard thing that people buy. And these are little face plates. So you take this out if you're going to put stuff in, but you should keep them because if you remove something, you can just put them in. It's either to cover the holes, because if you don't, bugs and that get in, and then it could do something weird and could cause damage. And then I did take one thing out of this when I had it. It had a dial-up mode in. Don't use it anymore, so I just removed it. But at the time, dial-up was still around. And broadband, I remember at the time, was just coming into the phase, and it was at 512 megabytes, and you had a ADSL mode in which you plugged into the USB, and there was no hub or anything else at the time. So yeah, or even wireless. So yeah. So it was just starting at the time. And now we high fiber, multiple stuff, so it's pretty amazing over the years. So yeah, they're very good over the years, they have been, but no. I'm surprised how fast they managed to fix so heavy. I just noticed my stream just delayed. That's due to this laptop. Sorry, I keep going the other side, I can see what my stream's doing and it's just busy. I think any other screw. There. Sorry, well that's interesting. Ooh. Well, that's interesting. The actual motherboard is still screwed to the... Taking all the screws out of the motherboard, if I just realised there's some under the heatsink. They literally are using the case as a... Because normally you have a heatsink at the back of the board so that it fixes on. It looks like they've actually put it straight onto there. So I had to take the heatsink off to get to the actual screws to take the entire board off. I won't do that because, like I said, I don't have the thermal compound to replace it, so... Really? Absolute... What? Yeah. It's literally... Oops, don't want to disturb that. It's literally... You've got to take the heatsink off to actually get the actual... Well, as I said about some OEM manufacturers do this. You do some things that really make you thinking, what the hell? And I'm sorry to say, I find it with most Dell, some weird desktops from Dell that do this. I've had them in the past before, and it's easy to remove. I've had older times, but sometimes I do things like this. So I can't take the board out to show, but that's a bit of a hamper. I have to show that. I don't want to take the thing out because it's too bad. But generally, what this board has, it's got the 3 expansion spots here, like the other board, but there's no AGP, and there actually is a space to put it, but they never put it on. So you can't put any updated graphics card. If it did have that, then this would be perfect for testing, but they really did a bummer on that. Also, maximum 2 gigs of RAM in this. There's literally 2 solder ports more, but they decided to put maximum 2, which is another bummer. But yeah, I've had another Dell server as well, like I said, that weird one. It had the PCI Express, but only Express 1. And I know it's rare to get graphics cards like that as well, so it's like another thing you can put a graphics card in. So they sometimes do some really weird ones on the cheap ones. I think more higher end one probably had them soldered, but for cheap cost saving they just do that. So that's sometimes we have to watch out for some of these cases. You get the right model, you can get the parts. If not, you're stuck. You can get PCI AGPs on these. I had one in an older system, but they're rare to find, and they don't give you the best bandwidth as the AGP. So yeah. But generally it has the same thing. There's a 4-pin there. There's a priority ones for the connectors, and the headers for the floppies. The IDE sort of control primary is black and secondary is white and that, and that's 20 gig. But like I say, this is a custom CPU, so it's designed to fit that shroud in, but you have to take this off, take 4 screws out to get the board out. And like I say, the side's soldered on, so yeah. Another bad thing they do. But yeah, this is a Dell board. So yeah, like I say, it has a built-in system fit seeker. I still think you should have on most boards because that thing tells you you've got post error. But yeah, if I remember rightly, this is a Pentium 4 2 gigs. Instead we're on the RAM slots out now, and this is the memory that comes with it. This is actually it's a hodgepodge machine, which had 1 gig of RAM. I managed to get 2, so one's a Crucial, one's a Kingston. This is a Crucial one. See, this is a 1 gigabyte DIMM. DIMM. Yeah, it has 4 slots because, like I say, on the board it says 1, 3. DIMM, yeah, because DIMM 0 and DIMM 2 on the populator, well, they're not existent. So yeah. But generally, I think this is a DDR. I think this is DDR1. I can't remember what it was. I think it's DDR1. This is DIMM. Oh yeah, it's PC 3200. I see it now. So these are DDR1. So it's adapted from the SDRAM from the other machine. So it has 1 notch and a bit more pins and rearrangement, but this is a DDR. So this is DDR1 for next up from that one. And DDR1 started coming up. And the thing is, older RAM are a bit more. You can still buy older RAM, but sometimes they can be expensive, and it depends where you get them from. But you can still get them to upgrade old machines. Just put this in here for now, so we don't lose them. Yeah, DDR1 is on this. Also, that's probably only limited to 2 gigs because it's rare to find a 2 gig DDR-ROM. Yeah, but no, they've had a GPU card. This would be good for a test system, but no. Also, it's only 32-bit as well, so it has limitations. Yeah. So that's that one. And like I say, still has a serial port for some stuff needed it, but it's on board graphics, and there's a parallel port for data transfer and that. Both systems had a PS2 mouse and keyboard on its own card, and this one has 4 USBs, but the other one had 2, and a LAN. I think they only went out to 100, these two. And there's 4 LEDs here on some Dell systems that have this diagnostic LED. So when the machine is booted up, which I'll show when they have this all fixed up, it lights up to status, and if it holds, you can look at the manual, it tells you exactly what the fault is, or the beeper. So that's on some systems, but yeah, but mainly this is and I think it's also a Rocket ATX in here as well. So yeah, it's a Rocket ATX in here as well. So yeah, only small boards, but generally that's that. Bit more weighty because I can't take the motherboard out. So there's that one, and that's just the next one. Anyway, this is, oops, and this is my other system. This is the one that I actually built myself. My second system. This is my second system. Well, the case I had originally, and it was my second system I built, which is I still got labels on the front here. And the Athlon 64, so it's my first Athlon 64 300 plus. An ATR card and an Asus board. So this was my first one. Literally, the first built one was a Phenom, and this is the one that replaced it. And it's just a cheap case at the time because I didn't know much about cases, so it was just something there and there. And this is actually a custom one, so you can put anything into it. I've still got the screws on it from it, but yeah, generally there. I'll put the thumb screws in here because they're easy to do, but this case is sort of full of time because it's means me to access hard drive. Now this system is my test rig, so this is why you have normally camera on and everything. And I show this when I want to do OS testing in live format, so that's like Linux or any OS. I do VM on the main system, but I like to do it on here as well to see how to make it work, and also show live to see how easy it is to do and long to take. Because this one's also got 4 gigs of RAM, Athlon 42, so it's a 2.2 dual core, 64-bit, so it's all 64-bit and a good GPU. So this is handy for that type of testing. With this, I don't worry about bugger the drive because I can just wipe it and start again. But also, this machine is also for testing other drives that come in because this has both an ID and a SATA controller, so it has all the benefits of doing standard stuff. And if you need to copy drives, you can run it on this without occupying my main system. So this one you see a lot of, but I need to take a few bits out of this anyways, and to clean it out anyways, but just the general machine that I'll be using. So yeah, just a general, it's dual-sided, so I've got to take the other one off. Like I said, I put the thumb screws in because it was easy then to keep screwing it on and off all the time. I won't be stripping this one down because I already gave it a full service one time. But I just need to take a couple bits out. Also, flimsy metal. They literally are flimsy metal in this machine. I didn't realise at the time. But cheaper cases have that, either cut corners or difficult management. But at the time, it still was going on. And this was I think 2009 or 2007 I had this, so yeah. It's round, but it's now a defunct system. So the thing I have to do is remove this optical drive because this actually belongs in the Dell. I'm going to put it back in there because I don't need an optical drive in it anymore because this board can boot from USB, and I never used it, so I'm producing stuff coming out of this. And also this thing's got a hodgepodge of screws and stuff because I just figured what I could at the time. So this is just a general purpose machine. And like I say, reuse the case. Helped someone up before and they got a case that was really bad, so I decided to build a system, but then I decided to give this case to them because where was it? Oh, yeah, because their one was really crap, so yeah, so I sort of swapped them out. And that's for a long time, but now they use a laptop, so I just called the PC because this one is our old system, so yeah. So they use a laptop, and like I say, it's got my own drive in and everything, so this is, excuse me, my actual thing for testing and general stuff. So yeah. So you don't need to take the hard drive out that stays in, because that's going to be used again. And like I say, and this is also difficult at the end, we have to punch some covers off to take it off, but I'm not going to take it apart because I've already cleaned out. I've removed the actual front header port because the USBs are damaged. It would have had a firewire which went out the back here, there's like a hole here, went into the back of the board. And headers I don't use for audio, so I'll just take anything out the front off. And to be honest, at a later date I'm going to put this into a very cheapy case to get USB 3 and put a priority card in a later date when I decide to do more stuff with this, but for now it's just a general test bed. I would be putting that optical drive back in just to hide the hot. Well, I'm not sure yet because I need to see if I've got any spare plates to put on this because I don't have the original cover. I'm just taking out all spare parts. So this one I don't worry about covering the holes because it's always open access and it stays open most of the time. Actually, I put this in the other day to test it and it no longer works. I think it's just an old system. But this floppy drive has been with me from loads of machines, but it's now either the controller's dead or something else, but I can't get it working anymore. But I've got the other machine for that, so see, so I've got to get this one out. It's not used anymore because I can just boot it from USB, so don't need the actual optical drive in it anymore. So I don't burn discs off of this or play discs and anything else because I simply use my optical drive, flash drive. So you can read the flash drives. So this will go back into the. This is going to go back into the other system, and it's a Toshiba Samsung CD writer DVD drive TS8492 2005. So that system is 2005, and this is actually a CD burner only. So it's a DVD-ROM, so it means it reads DVDs, but it won't burn because it was still around at the time, and CD burner. But they've taken off the actual USB, that headphone socket, and volume thinks it wasn't needed anymore because everything went through the sound card. But it still has the header for it if you need to use it, and it's a 4 digital audio, so audio CD into there, but I think most of it went to modern sound cards. Jumper setting, anything else as before, and this is going to go back into the other machine. So that's that, that's that. I'm just going to stay in because it's my priority drive, but it's a Hitachi desktop. It's a 250 gig hard drive, and it's manufactured. It's a say SAT2, and it's October 2008. Yeah, 2008. That's when I first started using SATA drives, and this one's about a long time. And they still work, and this was good for testing, so yeah, so I'm just going to take out a couple of hard drives I don't need any anymore. Just take that out. I'm not going to dismantle this one because it already had it all worked out, so I'm just putting out old controllers. Actually, they need a floppy drive anymore, but I'm not keeping the item. Should put you in there, actually, out of the way. This notice how this is. Power supply's got a lot more in it because it's got SATA control and everything else. I'm just keeping the ID controller header in here because I do run ID drives, so it's easy to just tuck it away for now. And this only has, so this is a 24 pin power, first one to use it. It actually had a little label on it that said 24 and the manual said use it to give it better performance. There's a 4 pin here, so this is AMD first time using 4 pin because of the AMD 2. And like I said before, this is also a this is AMD's own cooler. Actually, you can take the screws off and clean it out. I don't need to do this one because it's been cleaned. I did put a 12mm fan on the back. Front was difficult to put in, and the thing with this case, it had 4 positions for an 8 or a 12. So it really was the odd case. There's a buzzer on here as well. That's another handy thing to have. But what I had to do with this, I had to take 2 parts of this up to close the 2 air gaps because that made importance for the fan. And this is a mid-range tower, so this can fit a this is a mid-range tower, so this could take a mid-range. I think this is a micro in here because it's got 4 controllers in it still. I can't remember. I don't think the micro, no mini yet. I think these are mini ones here. Don't use these often, but yeah, there's a mini, I think. But this can take the next size up. Yeah, but not a full, because this is a next size up to the other ones because it's got 4 ports. I can't remember what this terms is. But this has 1 fan at the back only. But like the other systems, only got 3 PCIe ones here. 2 PCIes here. There's a PCI Express under the card here, and this is a PCI Express 16. Now, this GPU is a GeForce 7200, 128 megabytes of RAM on the memory. It's not much these days, but this is ideal for some stuff I use still. And it has SVD out before. No, actually, that's not yeah, that's SVD out. But also had an adapter for old HD, DVI, and VGA. And this is also low profile, like before the VGA. You can take off and put them in 2 slots, but this is the general thing that fits in here. This is a DDR2 machine. I'm not going to take the RAM out because this thing has a hefty fit. So they're slightly bigger, same notch but in different position, and this one has 4 gigs. But also it can take up to 16, but it's a bit rare to find a large one, and only takes up to 800 megahertz, so it's a bit, due to its age, a bit temperamental. It's an ECC board, and this is actually one you can buy. This was just a kit that had the processor ready on and everything else. This is an AM2 Plus, that's what I think this one was. It's a GeForce 6100 SM M2. So yeah, this is an actual USB 2. There's 2 front headers on here for it. There's only 2 SATA ports. At the time they were slowly coming in. You can fit 4 on the board. It's 2. And like I say, I keep a spare one here for the drive. There's 2 ports to use, one for the drive, one for another one to hook in. And it also has a still got a file controller and still got an ID controller because they were still swapping over. But so I've only got one ID controller. Well, I still have this because, like I say, I can access ID hard drives for this and SATA drives. So this is good for doing test purposes. But it's manufactured. I forgot when it was mentioned. Excuse me, I'm just trying to figure it. But like this has got all the connectors for all the front head ports, and like I say, if I was getting rid of this case, I would just pull off the speaker and the switches and that. Because it's handy if you had to test the board. It's oh, so this is dual RAM. I can't find the manufacturer date on this, but I know it is. It was 2000 and It was a 2009 or 10 I built this, so yeah, it's over 10 years old, so yeah. And when DD2 coming out, so yeah, so this is a good system board, but it's aging because there's a cat failing on it, and same with the power supply, the cat's failing, but the board still works, but it's temperamental. Now and then, but it still works. And the power supply is hyper. It's still around, but it's an old one. First one I put in, which is a 12, so it's got the little, you know, like what you see now these days. 2004. Ooh, was that old? Oh yeah, so this must have been from my first custom system, which is the Phantom. It still runs fine, but it's enough. I did clean it out the other day, and it's a cat fading, but it still works okay, and the board's still fine, so this is okay for this type of job. I didn't realise it was 2004. Wow. Huh. And it is a 530 watt, 500 watt. So it can. Do I have any other headers on here? No, it's all. No, it's all just load of Molex because they're still around. Molex and a few SATA controllers and that. So yeah. So you can't use it in a modern system, but this power supply is good for general stuff. So yeah. So that's what the storage system's for. Like I said, I'm not going to take this one apart because there's no point, because there's only got certain things that are here. And also the other thing is this board is difficult to get out. Well, you can take the screws out, but this thing has a little. At the time I didn't realise until I brought it and first used it, I found out something really weird thing. The posts are actually built onto the actual rise parts of the board on the actual case itself, and it doesn't come with the regular little posts that you get in most machines, that all those things you screw in to reposition it. They actually are all fixed. And the way this works is it comes with a little ground, little insulated washers that you had to put onto the board before you put the board and put the screw in to prevent it from grounding. It's a bit of a pain. You literally have to put the board upside down, put them in, and then try to do this sort of thing, or test your luck and slowly bit it on and use a screwdriver in case you keep it all little things so you can see them all in there, and then screw it on. So this is very fiddly to do in this case. That's why I'm going to take the board out, be there forever trying to fit it back in. That's why I want to change the case, because it's well, it's the first case anyway, so, and fiddly. But yeah, generally that's the power supply, and like I say, this is one of the new ones that also has switched on it, and also there's no switch for changing the voltage, it's auto in these now. But yeah, this case is fine, and this is just a general case that I use for just general testing and general things now. So you see this one a lot because it's going to be used for all the types of works, like installing operating system and general stuff and testing. So this is a good one for that. Like I say, this is a good one for that type of work. So that's what I'm going to do in a later date. Anything's easy, I can pick up one hand. Oh, this is it. Stupid thing. That's heavy. That's the last one. This is my main system. So this is one that I use for daily work. Yeah, it's not bigger than the others because this is a fractional R4 case. It's the first time, and it's white. I thought of changing it to white, and now I pretty stick to white because I like the design of white, and it's more boring than seeing black, because at the time machines used to be beige, and they went to black, and everything now is black. I thought I'd go for white, and I do like the design because they do make black. All the ribbons on that are black, so it's pretty matched on the R. And to be honest, the next one will probably either be on the latest R or cooler, but it still will be white because I like the design of the white. And it's a nice little case. This is very modular, I say, and this is one of the best ones I've had. And it does have a little door that holds everything in, but the thing is, it only moves the wrong way on the desk. But on the fractal 5 and onwards, they've actually dealt that way. You can. I don't like putting doors on them, but this one I thought had it. But the new ones actually go either direction, which is pretty good. And this has got filters, but the downside, this filter, this one here, to clean it, you have to pull it out and clean it with the Hoover, or you can wash it Hoover, but you have to put it at the back. On the new models, they've actually on the front. Trust me, when you try moving these, because you don't want to either trying to shift this to get the filter clean, because this is the intake for. There's one for a fan if you had, but and this is the one for the PSU. This is on 24 hours, so it's really a couple months. Just it is a carpet, but it's low carpet, so it's still good distance, but it just sucks a lot of stuff up. So even in hard 4 it takes a while, but you should keep these clean. That's the thing I don't do often, but I should do them in the future. Sweet. And I think I may have to. This is why I also need a big desk, because you get stuff like this. It's really handy to have. So this only opens this direction, and this is foam padding. Get back on the desk. It's foam padding, so it's very silent running. Even so, even without that, still. And this is the access to the fan. So there's only 2 ports at the top for 2 optical drives, or you can adapt to fit the thing in. And there's a little switch here for switching the. It's had a little controller on board which you could use. Hook the fans up, you could switch to there, but I don't use this because I prefer to use the actual motherboard to control the fans, so it understands it. So this is the front port for accessing the fans. It comes off, and same thing before. Yeah, and it uses it pretty clean. This is why I have this up here for servicing. It's the job, so this just pops down. And just pops down, and it you just slide that out for the filter, which I would do at the moment. This just slides up like that. Same thing, you can wash it or hoover it. And this is one of the fractal cave fans that come with it. This is a 14-inch speed control and everything else, and I think that goes to the motherboard, so I'll pull it out later on. Like I say, even with the filters, it still gets a bit dusty in the inside because there's some side fans, so it does reduce it, but it still needs doing. And these are 2 optical drives. The bottom one's a Blu-ray and the top one's a CD. The reason I have 2 because this is also a DVD player, so if you're watching a lot of move series discs, this is easy. But yeah, so you can do that. I've got the original case slots on those to put back. And on the top, it's got headphone, mic, a reset switch, a power, 2 USB 3s and 2 USB 2s, and 1 LED. I don't know why they did that. It's a red LED and it's supposed to be power, but I hooked it up to the power. Yeah, power LED. I don't know why they didn't add a HD one, which is the dumbest thing. Even laptops don't have any more, and then you're figuring what the drive's doing. So that's it. And there's also 2 slots here for a rad or a fan. On the newer design case, they actually have a 3rd one for big ones, so they've actually done new designs on this, but this is a general case. But yeah, so yeah, and you had to move around, I had to keep moving around because it's so heavy. It's durable, I can't even if it emptied as that, it's still pretty heavy, because it's got a proper thing. Like I say, this comes with all the thumb screws and that, which is good. Hey, don't do that. Yep, that's still doing it, it's just delaying. So this has a. You've got to do that. So it's padded, and there's another place for fans, and they also come with these little holes to cover the slots to absorb the noise. So you can take this off, put fans on. this is what a proper case. Cheap ones don't do that. You can literally bend cheap ones. I can just stand on the other one if I wanted to, but this one you can stand and won't do any damage. But this is a white. You can get this in see-through, but I don't bother because I don't have any lights on. I'm not into that, so it's fine. So that's that. And that's the general thing for this. This is a still a mid-range thing, so you can still fit a. Actually, this is a mid-range. This is before the full size motherboard. So yeah, you can see there's plenty of space in here. You can actually. It's all screwless, except for a couple of things, but that's a general thing. And this is the case connector slide out. So this is the accessed drive case. You can completely remove this if you don't need it, or turn it around way or the other. You can go both directions, but I prefer this way because the airflow. You can see there's still dust in it, even in the filters. It needs cleaning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. So this can take up to 8 3.5 bays of hard drives, or 10 SSD drives. So this is a pretty good tape to get, and all the cases have these type of brackets with grommets on it, so it's for anti-vibration. So they're pretty handy. Didn't realise one of the feet have fallen off. Oh dear, age. So that's that. Also, this is a bit wider because all the cable was in the back, which is the first management system I had. So yeah. So this is the primary system. So there's another 14 in the back, 12 at the top. I left it in there, and this thing actually has also the anti-rubber things I've put on. This is a Intel 4th gen. I can't remember. I had to boot up from the model. This takes DDR3 RAMs. This has got 16 in. It's also has a Molex power supply, 750 watt Molex power supply in this, and a GTX 760 SE. But it's the general build of most machines I have. This is my latest one, so yeah. 2 hard drives on the bottom here at the moment. One is a Western Digital Blue 500 gig, and the other one's a black. Both 500 gigs, and the thing is that this is case design. Also, it's the hard drive sitting here, and the cables come in the back, so you have to sort of wiggle it around. So yeah, this is the general board. I won't take this apart actually because it's not too bad. Just need to clean filters, but this is just a general layout of what modern boards look like. But I may have to take the power supply out because that's been there for ages and might need a bit of a clean. Because this thing has been in 2 machines, and this is an OCZ, which are no longer around. They sold theirs. They sold their hard drives to Toshiba, and this is another company, but this is still pretty good. And it's also needs cleaning out because it's also a thermal control one, so it's supposed to kick in higher when it needs to increase the speed. So it just needs to make sure that thermostat's cleaned. So I'll be doing it as well, and it's completely modular, so you can just take out the parts. And also I like modules because you can only put in what you need. This is a general machine for the general thing, but this needs to be stripped out because I need to access the solid state, and the problem is the Fractal 4 is on the back of the case, but the only way to access it is behind the motherboard. I don't know if the genius did that, but on the 5 and 6 they've actually got little slots you see on modems, so yeah, that's a bit of a fun thing to do. So I need to take the board to get the solid state off. The reason it being is, like I say, this system is going to be used as a stream at a later date, so I want to take all the drives out, so I want to put it here ready so that it's easy to access. Presently behind the board is I'm going to keep taking the board out to change it, so yeah. So I'll do that. I need to do it anyways because I need to gain access to the board. And also give out a quick clean here, so there's a small layer of dust, but it's not as bad without the filters. Just think I've seen worse. Yeah, this will be done later on, because, like I say, I need to do this. I'll probably do this later on today when I get a chance, but generally it needs to be completely cleaned out. The filters do the job, but it's still. But generally, this is my latest board, and like I say, it has an Asus Z87A. It's 4 years old. It's looking good. Like I say, I need to do some general checkout on this one and give it a full service, because, like I say, it's got a lot of junk built up on it, which is a bit of a problem due to its age. But yeah, so we'll do that later on. So like I say, this is going to be a gross. Like I say, this is going to be another. This is going to be a second. So this is going to be a second video for this. It's going to be still the same. So yeah, so I'm going to stop it for now, and then I'm going to come back later on tonight to finish this machine off, and then put the machines back together and check that they operate again. Normally it's fine, but you never know. So yeah, so I'll do that later. Oh. Oh, I didn't realise I skipped rate. Oops. This one maybe it's due to the laptop, so yeah. Oops. So yeah, that sort of dropped frame rates. Didn't realise it did that. So yeah. So I'll do it tonight again. So hopefully that will be a little bit better. So okay, it should be later on tonight. Certainly after work. Is that okay?